For 2 years, a woman lived alone in the Arctic. Not stranded after an accident, not lost on a journey. She had not come north to test herself against ice or isolation. She had come for wages. She had come because she was poor, recently widowed, and responsible for a young son she could not afford to lose. When Ada Blackjack agreed to travel to Wrangel Island in 1921, she did not imagine survival. She imagined sewing, cooking, and returning home with money. The men who hired her did not imagine her surviving at all. They imagined her as support, not as a participant in whatever might go wrong. Everything went wrong. Wrangel Island lies deep in the Arctic Ocean, north of Siberia, beyond the routes of ordinary shipping. It is a place that appears on maps almost reluctantly. No trees. No permanent population. Permafrost locked so tightly into the ground that burial itself becomes a negotiation. In the early 20th century, Wrangel Island mattered not because it was useful, but because it existed. Nations argued over it as a symbol. Expeditions were sent not to live there, but to claim it. Ada Blackjack arrived as part of one of those claims. There were 5 of them, for men and Ada. She was the only woman, the least trained, and the least equipped. Her skills were domestic. She could sew. She could keep a camp functioning. The men believed relief ships would come within months. They were wrong. The first winter closed in faster than expected. Sea ice thickened. Hunting became dangerous and unreliable. Food that was meant to last through the cold season began to disappear. Scurvy appeared quietly. It does not announce itself. It weakens. Gums bleed. Muscles fail. Wounds stop healing. Men who were capable weeks earlier become fragile. Ada watched this happen. She did not lead. She did not argue. She did what she had always done. She maintained routine. She prepared meals. She repaired clothing. She cleaned wounds. She followed instructions from men who were slowly losing the strength to give them. By the second winter, the expedition had collapsed. 3 of the men died in the shelter they had built. Their bodies were buried when the ground allowed it. The 4th made a decision that was both desperate and understandable. He attempted to walk across the ice towards Siberia, hoping to reach help or at least movement. He vanished into the white. Ada Blackjack was now alone. No training, no partner, no guarantee that anyone remembered she existed. This is where survival stories often become dramatic. Panic, despair, breakdown. That did not happen. Ada did not panic because panic would not feed her, warm her, or keep polar bears away. Instead, she assessed what remained. A rifle, limited ammunition, a shelter already worn by storms, a small supply of food. She had never hunted before. She learned by watching what the men had done. She practiced shooting, wasting as little ammunition as possible. When she succeeded, she learned how to skin animals, how to preserve meat in freezing conditions, how to keep food from spoiling even when nothing else cooperated. The Arctic did not forgive mistakes. Every task required attention. Every decision had consequences that could not be undone. Ada learned when to move and when to stay still. She learned how to keep fire alive through storms that seemed designed to extinguish it. Fire was not comfort. It was infrastructure. Without it, hands stiffened, tools became useless, and death arrived quietly. Polar bears became a constant threat. They did not behave predictably. They did not retreat out of fear. Ada encountered them at close range. Each encounter forced a calculation: stand firm, retreat slowly, or fire and hope the shot counted. She survived each one. The greatest danger, however, was not physical. It was silence. Weeks passed without another human voice, without feedback, without reassurance. The mind, deprived of response, begins to distort. Time loses shape. Days become interchangeable. Ada fought this deliberately. She spoke aloud. She sang hymns she remembered from childhood. She read from the same books again and again, not because the content changed, but because the sound of words anchored her to herself. She kept a journal, not as a confession, but as a structure. Dates mattered, records mattered. Writing imposed order on a place that offered none. 2 years passed this way. 2 Arctic winters. 2 summers barely worthy of the name. Then, in 1923, something appeared on the horizon. A ship. At first, Ada assumed it was imagination. The Arctic is known for illusions. Distance lies. Shapes emerge and dissolve. But the ship did not disappear. When it arrived, the men who came ashore expected to find remains. They expected to recover evidence of failure. Instead, they found Ada Blackjack alive. She was thin, scarred, but functional. She had not merely survived. She had adapted. When she returned south, the world did not celebrate her. Some criticized her for surviving when men with training had died. Others questioned her choices. Survival, when performed quietly and without spectacle, often unsettles people who expect heroism to look a certain way. Ada did not argue. She returned to Alaska. She lived privately. She raised her son. She did not seek attention or lectureships. She had not survived to be admired. She had survived because she refused to disappear. Wrangel Island remains cold and indifferent. The Arctic continues to erase evidence of human presence as efficiently as it erases tracks in snow. But Ada Blackjack's story endures because it resists drama. It shows survival as it actually is, methodical, repetitive, and deeply human. Not a triumph, a refusal. If stories like this matter to you, stories where endurance replaces spectacle, consider supporting the channel. Like the video, subscribe, and join us for more true stories of survival, isolation, and the limits of the human will.